transitions are the hardest times in people's life, even if it's a positive one. When you get a new job, you move to a new state, it can rock you just as much as like a negative transition, like a breakup or like getting fired or whatever. Like, and I think that we tend to be really hard on ourselves as human beings because we're like, hold on, I'm doing everything right. Why am I struggling now?
Right.
And then maybe we fall back into a more negative pattern. But I think what you did is you rode that out and you were like, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, I was like, I have to persevere in this path that I'm trying to take.
Hi, everyone. This is your host, Chelsea. Welcome back to the Well for Culture podcast. So this is my sister, Corina. She's not technically my sister. We're not siblings, but I refer to her as my sister because I have known her since she was 15 years old. I've seen you grow up, and I'm so proud of you and where you are at now with your wellness. And for me, I want to continue to share stories about other Native women who have really thrived and have things to teach, I think, and things to demonstrate, and really kind of are walking their talk when it comes to health and wellness. I think, again, this sort of ties in on both the spiritual, cultural side, the family side, and the fitness side is your choice to be drug and alcohol free.
Yeah.
Tell me how you arrived at that place. I mean, however much you want to say.
Yeah, for sure. So I think I was just at a kind of a low point in my life. I was feeling very lost. I had experienced a lot of different types of loss, within like 1 year. And I feel like a very common experience for a lot of us that grew up on the res or partially on the res, and then we move away and sometimes we end up kind of disconnecting. And I feel like it's just a really common experience that when we realize we're feeling so disconnected or lost, or it's like there's something missing, we tend to kind of run back home and run back to our cultural practices. That's exactly what I did with dancing. And as far as sobriety, I was always taught that consuming alcohol pushes your spirit further away from you. And I think that in trying to find myself again, that lifestyle and drinking alcohol, I just knew it wasn't going to allow me to do what I was trying to do. It wasn't going to be able to be a factor in my life anymore for me to be able to live like a well lifestyle going forward. And I've never had any issues with addiction or alcoholism personally. I've had people really close to me, obviously, struggle with addiction and alcoholism, and I've seen, firsthand how damaging it can be and how much it can change someone. Like I said, I guess kind of push their spirit like further away from themselves. I just decided one day that I wasn't going to drink anymore. There wasn't necessarily some big event, or anything that happened for me to make that decision. It was just kind of like, yeah, I think I just don't want alcohol to be a part of my life anymore.
It's like you kind of felt that message creeping in and just at one point decided like to listen to that. Yeah. I totally relate to you on that front. I always say, even though I was never an addict necessarily or in treatment or anything like that, like I never put myself above the idea that first of all, that can happen to anyone, even later on in life. I think it's such a dangerous and sneaky spirit of alcohol that it could always get you at some point. And I don't ever tell anybody what to do with their lives, but I think if you're seeking health and wellness, it can't hurt to just cut it out. Because there's also, you have that spiritual knowledge, and then you also have study after study that shows there's literally zero benefit. It's full of sugar. it makes you feel like crap the next day,
Yeah.
particularly as you continue to get older. It wreaks havoc
Right.
on your mental health, causes anxiety.
Right.
You know, there's just so much
Right.
that it can ruin. And who wants to throw away even one day
Right.
of
Exactly.
being hungover or of being drunk?
Exactly. And that's just, I just woke up one day and I wasn't willing to,
Feed that spirit.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I support that. And I think it's been working out.
Mm-hmm.
for
It,
you,
yeah,
for
it's
me,
the
everybody.
easiest, best decision I've ever made.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's interesting though is after I kind of made the decision to cut out alcohol, which I would really only drink, you know, at that point it was kind of like special occasions for me anyways, maybe like once a month.
Sure.
You know, I would go out with my girlfriends, or if there was something special going on, then I would drink. I didn't want to be casually drinking anymore anyways. And so, yeah, I had already cut back like significantly on just that, the norm.
I think that's important. And I think it's important for me. Another thing I always thought about was like my little cousins, or you never know who's watching you. And it's a lot more people than you think.
Yeah.
And I thought, because I've seen such high rates of alcoholism in my family and in my community, the more that others have a role model of somebody who completely abstains, the more normal that is to
Yeah.
people. Because where we grew up, it was not, in our generation, it was not normal to not drink.
Yeah.
I think it was a very much, oh, you turn like 14, 15, you're going to go out and you're going to try this
100%.
stuff. Like, that's how old I was
Yeah.
when I first
Same.
partook. And that was just like what people did. There was nothing weird about that.
That was just the
Now,
norm.
I want to shift that norm. I want my kids to look at me like, you drank when you
Yeah.
were 14 years old. Like, that's insane.
crazy because it is.
Not that my parents ever condoned that, by the
Right.
way.
Yeah.
But, you know, kids do what they do. And it's North Dakota in general, native and non-natives, man. There's a lot of binge drinking up there. And
Yeah.
I think you have to really actively take that position of showing that you're proud to like not do that
Right.
in order to be a role model.
Right. Well, and I think that is becoming more common.
Yes,
You know,
for sure.
which I love
in
to
recent
see.
years.
Yeah. How many people are just abstaining from drinking
And proudly just
altogether.
saying and
Yeah.
not having a problem saying. I know. Like when I first quit, even like 10, 12 years ago, whatever that was, I was 25, and I'm 38 now. Yeah, so I just remember feeling almost embarrassed. Again, native or non-native, I just think there's a bigger culture of people now that are either sober curious or recognizing that abstaining from alcohol is like a part of wellness. It's not necessarily something that you do there's never any reason to be ashamed of that. Why would anybody shame someone?
That's what's kind of weird.
Yeah. It's weird that
Yeah, if you decide that you want to be sober and you don't want to drink, it's actually weird for people to treat you differently because of that, or versus the other way around, which is kind of how the culture has been for so long.
Yeah. Now you still, because I think people would be curious about this. I mean, you still go out with your friends all the time, but how did they react to you being like, I'm not drinking anymore? And also, what do you look when I see you with a drink in your hand? Like, what is that?
Yeah, so I am so grateful to my girlfriends in Tulsa because when I first told them, we all go out. So I still go out with them and, they party and they drink too. When I first told them that I wasn't going to drink anymore, I think that they were like, at first kind of like, oh, okay. Like they thought that it was going to be like a phase.
Like a dry January.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, not that they didn't believe me, because my friends know I'm very like, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, It's
kind of nice in a way, though, that they just didn't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, definitely not. And
they didn't have a reverse intervention where they're like,
they're like,
sure you need to.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
I think after, a few months of just standing on business. Like I was like, I'm really, you guys, like I'm really not gonna drink, you know? That just became the new norm for us very quickly. So we go out and they order drinks and they always make sure to order me like the same exact drink as them, but a non-alcohol version. You know, so they're really good about stuff like that too, you know, like still making me feel included in whatever we're doing, you know? And so, yeah, I'm just really grateful for them and the way that they've like just completely accepted that I don't drink. You know, sometimes when we're out, people will offer to buy us drinks and they'll like kind of step in and be like, she doesn't drink. You know what I mean? So it's not always on me to have to be like, yeah, I'm sober, I don't drink. You know, they kind of take on like some of that role like for me as well, which is helpful, you know?
And it's just normal for them, so it's normal for you. I think that's great. It shows mutual respect, you know, and it just shows that it does make a difference having supportive friends in the process.
Yeah.
And so it's a process where you are going to really learn like who your friends are.
Right.
Because I think that if you had a friend that was still trying to tempt you otherwise, that would be a big red
flag. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't think that this dynamic that I have, you know, with my friends and, you know, still going out and like the things that we do, I don't particularly think that will work for everyone, especially if you're really struggling with addiction.
That's a good point.
You know, I don't think everyone can put themselves in those situations and it be so easy to refrain.
Like going to bars, going to parties.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it really depends on your situation. You know, I think if it's difficult for you to refrain from drinking, you probably don't want to put yourself in that situation to begin with. But if it's more of a case like my situation and it's just a decision that you've made health-wise, then you don't want to drink anymore, then it's a little bit easier. It's easy to be in those situations. And then that's when it's really helpful to have friends that support your decision.
Have you ever felt tempted to? Never.
No.
That's interesting. After I quit drinking, I think I definitely, for probably about 2 years, continued to feel on and off.
Yeah.
Tempted. The main one for me was like I used to love to have wine with dinner. And I really missed that. And now at this point, though, I mean, you just have to get through that hump.
Yeah.
So I can see what you're saying about maybe just generally staying away from it for a while if you're
struggling
having a little harder of a time. Yeah. And there's no shame in that, you know.
For me, even like my girlfriends, like if they are doing shots, they will literally get me a shot of water with a lime.
Yeah.
Just so I can do the work fun.
So if you guys have seen Corina on TikTok or Instagram with a shot glass, now you know why.
Alcohol.
And I love that, you know. I love that.
It just makes it easy, and I feel like I can still have fun. And I've had more fun going out with my girlfriends and being the sober one.
And knowing that your next day isn't going to be ruined.
Right. And I get everybody home.
And you can tell people stories about themselves the next day.
Yeah, the group chat's always pretty fun after a night out. So.
Is it I've never asked you this before, is it your lifelong plan to not drink? Or do you think one day you might, for whatever reason, try it again?
I haven't thought about it. That was never my intention going into it. I was like, I'm going to be sober for life or I'm going to be sober for X amount of time. It was just like, I don't want alcohol in my life anymore indefinitely, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't see myself drinking again.
Yeah.
Because I just don't.
Because you felt the benefits of not.
Yeah.
And you're just like, why would I? Yeah.
I don't know if cutting the alcohol out necessarily had anything to do with this either, but when I had gone through the things I went through and, you know, made all these changes and I was like, I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to get back into fitness. I'm going to start dancing again. You know, I was already dealing with a lot of anxiety before that. And I did have a period, I feel like, of heightened anxiety. And I don't know if cutting out the alcohol was part of it because I wasn't drinking very often. But I think also that's kind of the norm for a lot of people too, is like on the weekend, you know, you have a drink to like take the edge off or, you know, so those were things I was kind of thinking about a lot at the time too.
Yeah.
That I feel like a lot of people, what they're doing is you're self-medicating, you know, to deal with like the normal stresses in life. And I didn't want that to be a part of like my life and like my coping mechanism for just like your normal everyday life stresses. Like I really wanted to learn how to get through all of the hardships that I was dealing with sober and like really just on my own and like not using any type of substance to work through things and like get past this like very hard time in my life.
You just wanted to fully be intact and aware and manage with your inner strength.
Right.
Yeah, I respect that. I love that you mentioned though that even after implementing and initiating all these like new commitments to healthy lifestyle, you then went to even a dip and kind of having like a big, and I remember you calling me at this time and you were like, you know, really struggling and anxious. You know, anxiety was your main thing.
Yeah.
And I want folks to know that that's the honest truth is like in our culture, we know this. Nothing is linear. It's not you get from point A to point B and then life is perfect.
Right.
Like I think you're going to continue to have ups and downs just like you always had. Now the difference is you have these different tools as opposed to just going out, having, you know, some drinks. You have powwows to look forward to. You have regalia to sew. You have a niece to take care of. You have the gym. You have your job, your career.
Yeah.
And then those then become your anchor points, right? When you called me and you were really anxious, something I had been researching anyway is that transitions are the hardest times in people's life, even if it's a positive one. When you get a new job, you move to a new city, it can rock you just as much as like a negative transition, like a breakup or like getting fired or whatever. Like, and I think that we tend to be really hard on ourselves as human beings because we're like, hold on, I'm doing everything right. Why am I struggling now?
Right.
And then maybe we fall back into a more negative pattern. But I think what you did is you rode that out and you were like, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. I was like, I have to persevere in this path that I'm trying to take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Transitions are always challenging. And I think that's so important, you know, in this conversation about health and wellness too is, and I remember feeling the same way. The day you know, quit drinking or start a workout routine or start a new diet regimen, the day you start is not going to be the hardest day. But it's like when you're in the flow of it a little bit, you're going to start to like use some momentum and maybe even feel a dip, maybe even lower than ever. But then when you come out of it, it's like, wow, you have this like force field of renewed strength and resilience.
Yeah.
And then the more you prove to yourself that you can get through life without these negative outlets, I think the more confident you become.
100%.
You're just like, wow, I'm a rock.
Yeah.
And we can all be that for ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's necessary. I want to talk a little bit more about travel. So you've been hitting the Powwow Trail. Your dad, your stepmom is joining you for that. You're seeing your cousins, your mom.
Yeah.
What motivated you to go to the other places you've been? Tell me about
so
those
I
trips.
recently went to Peru with my dad and some of the family on my dad's side. Him and I and my younger cousin hiked to Machu Picchu, which was very challenging. It was a 26-mile, 4-day, 3-night hike through the Andes. So
Easy, right?
it was like the most challenging thing I've ever done.
Hardest thing you've done.
And honestly, that was the goal. I told my dad I really wanted to do something challenging this year. You know, just, I guess that's been like my theme for the last year. And my goal has been to like get out of my comfort zone and like do new things and do like challenging things.
Yep.
and just kind of see like what I'm capable of, So I really wanted to do something challenging, and he had a friend from work that had done this trek like a few years ago, I think. So that's kind of where he got the idea for hiking in Peru. Yeah, we kind of started training for that. So we were doing a lot of hiking and long walks. We were getting up really early and having breakfast and going for long walks.
5 a.m.
It
or
was, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, and as soon as the hike was over, that ended.
Yeah.
So it's actually funny because after the hike, we came back from Peru. And yeah, we had been like pretty extensively training for months leading up to that. And then we both just got like so lazy. Like I took like a break from the gym, like a break from running and everything. And we were just so lazy after, but we got back into our
Probably some well-deserved rest
Yeah.
after that. I
Yeah.
think that's really amazing. And for people who don't know, Machu Picchu is one of the world's most important and monumental indigenous sites of architecture, and it's very challenging to get there. And I think it's a really cool way of connecting with an international indigenous community as well. Obviously, you go to Peru and that is their homelands, and it's really cool to pay respect to that, I think.
Yeah. And there's just so much history to learn when you're over there too, like learning all about the Incan Empire, and the people were so nice. The people of Peru were amazing. The food was amazing. It was just such a great experience. There's more to see and do there, so I do plan on going back to Peru at some point.
Yeah.
But
And that's something I recommend. I did this a lot when I was in my 20s, and now not as often because I have kids and stuff. But that's why you should do it in your 20s and early 30s, is like get out there, take those trips, make those plans, find your people who will do it with you. Because there's gonna come a time when life gets, maybe busier, where you don't have that freedom to do it. But when you have that freedom, do those things.
Yeah.
These are formative experiences in life that everybody should take. I think it just builds confidence. It shows you other perspectives in the world. It shows you the way that different people live. You learn your history. You learn travel is so important. It's such a good learning experience. So.
Yeah, and it was such good bonding, for me and my dad and my cousin. Being in the Andes for 4 days, like completely unplugged, and just fully present and doing something out of your comfort zone and something challenging. And, there was a time, I think it was day 3, that I was like, why did I sign up for this? Like, I'm never going to do anything like this again.
Yeah.
And then when it was over, I'm like, oh my God, like I want to do a hike like this again. So we do plan on doing another hike.
Nice.
Yeah.
You guys better invite me next time. No, I know I was invited to the first one too.
Yep.
Maybe a tip for high school 20-something students who are listening to this and you're sober curious. If you quit drinking and start saving money every week, maybe the money you would have spent at the bars or whatever, like pretty soon you're going to build up a substantial travel fund.
For sure.
A lot of the coolest places to travel in the world, the ticket is the really expensive part. And then when you get there, you can eat really well on a budget. So you can stay at some really cool places on a budget.
Yeah, for sure.
And invest in that. There's so much investment that you can make in mind, body, spirit, and finances when you don't like. I hate to say it.
No, 100%.
But it's true.
It's an expensive habit. For sure, especially depending on like where you are and who you can hang out with, and it can be financially draining for sure.
And then shortly after that, you went to Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't know that you were bringing your mom with you, and it looks like your friend brought her mom.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. I community, family is a huge part of health and wellness, connection. And so what did that trip do for you guys?
Yeah. So, normally my girlfriends and I take a couple girls trips every year.
Mm-hmm.
Hawaii's been one of them. And then Aspen to snowboard is another trip that we normally take in January.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to take my mom to Hawaii for her birthday in October. And then I was telling my best friend Raquel about it, and she was like, "Oh my God, like, what if I take my mom too?" And then another one of my friends was like, "Let's just make it a mother-daughter trip, and we'll all take our moms." That's essentially what we had planned to do. And so we didn't go in October during my mom's birthday. We ended up doing it in September, which is a really good time of year to go. My mom and my best friend Raquel, her mom, they've known each other for years as well. So her and I were next door neighbors when I moved to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one day she came and like knocked on my front door when I moved in, and I guess her mom told her there was like a little girl that moved in on the corner, and
Yeah.
so she came with her little brother and knocked on my door and asked if I could play, and
That's cute.
we've been friends ever since, like 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously my mom moved back to North Dakota and to the res, and so they haven't seen each other in so long, and so they were both really excited to get to see each other again and spend time together and hang out. And they know, obviously their daughters are very, very close. So yeah, we took our moms to Hawaii. It was just a great trip. I was going to say my favorite trip, but my dad's going to be mad. So my mom and I have actually been talking about doing a Hawaii trip for quite a few years too.
Mm-hmm.
She's always like, "Oh, let's just do it next year." Like kind of always was putting it off. And that was another reason that I was like, we're going to do it this year. Like, we're doing the trip. I just booked everything. I'm like, this is where we're going. It's happening. And it's funny because, she finally committed to going too. And it just so happened to be like the same year that my dad and I are going to do Peru. And so I feel like there's always a little competition between them too. Yeah. And so my dad's like, "Yeah, of course your mom would want to go to Hawaii."
Oh my gosh.
Just because we're going to Peru. But he's like, "But our trip is over. Like, you guys aren't doing a hike or anything like that." So,
Oh my God.
so yeah, it's funny.
Well, that's funny.
But-
Hey, you did both. That's good.
But
Staying connected with your parents.
Yeah.
That's important.
So when I decided to like make all these major changes in my life, that was actually another thing that I really wanted to focus on: my friendships and my relationships. And I just decided that I wanted to be really protective of like my time and my energy and who I spend my time with and what I spend my time doing. And part of that was I wanted to spend more time with my family. And so I started going back home more often to visit, spending more time with my mom, really putting the effort into all of the positive relationships that I have in my life. So my parents, my friends that have been really good to me, other relatives, you guys, coming out here to spend time with you guys. I've been very intentional about that. And I've been very intentional about trying to build on my relationships with my younger cousins. My younger cousin, Aiden, we're very close. We're super close. He's like my little bestie.
Yeah. He's so cute.
Yeah, he's 17. He's like the best kid. And so I've brought him to Oklahoma a few times to visit. And, he likes to brunch with me and my girlfriend's sons. He likes to hit the Powwow Trail with me too. So I brought him down and we went to a powwow in Oklahoma. And then like for Black Hills, for example, him and my mom drove down from North Dakota and met me there.
Yeah.
So yeah, just trying to really put my energy, into the people that I love in my life.
Yeah, because if you don't make that commitment when you're not living at home anymore, at some point you realize like years are going to go by and I'm not going to have memories or have spent the time with all of these people that are so important in my life. Because society is structured in such a way that is toward the individual or for like the nuclear family. And sometimes our extended family values can go to the wayside because of that. So I love that you have made that effort And I think all of these things that you've done for your health and wellness are clearly like working in conjunction.
Yeah.
And I love to see that. And I hope my prayer, my wish is for everybody listening who's getting on their health and wellness journey is to learn to see it in that comprehensive way. Food, family, connection, getting out of your comfort zone, bravery, fitness, health, sobriety. It's all connected. And I think you're a testament.
Thanks.
I end every episode with like a little quote from one of my books. So if you know me, I've probably talked about this book with you before. It's called Every Day is a Good Day, Reflections by Contemporary Indigenous Women. And this is a book that was compiled by the late, great Wilma Mantiller, but it shares stories from a bunch of different Native women. And they talk about all different types of topics, from womanhood to governance, to cultural teachings and ceremony. So I'm going to share with you a quote from this book. Okay, so Corina and I were talking about this yesterday, just some of our roles and responsibilities as Native women. And so I want to read this from Rosalie Little Thunder, who says, as a matriarch, I think I could write an entire book on the challenges and responsibilities of womanhood. We are the creators of home, caretakers of the spiritual and physical needs of the Tiwahe or household, and our Tioshpaye or extended family. We are teachers, healers, storytellers, peacemakers, problem solvers, and visionaries. The roles and responsibilities in Indigenous cultures are different and dynamic. Unless humanity evolves to a point where we are all asexual, I don't think we will get true equity, whatever that is. I'm not sure we should wish for that. Feminism is a Euro-American response to a misogynist problem created by Euro-Americans. My experience as a Lakota has been that women are the center of male existence. We are matriarchal, not because someone made a conscious decision that this was to be the case. Our ways evolved out of need in a natural way according to natural law. My grandfather, my father, and my brothers respected and were all concerned for me as a female child. I had the final word. I learned to be careful with my influence. I am now the matriarch of my growing Tioshpaye, or extended family unit. So that's powerful. I mean, that's the teachings on womanhood that we come from. And I feel so proud to be a part of that legacy of Indigenous women that have been the rocks for our communities. And what Corina and I talked about last night, late night conversation, was just our wish for, we see that in our communities and in our own lives, and our wish is for that to be reciprocated, you know? As much as we should stand in our power as Native women to be those leaders and the anchors and stable forces in our homes and in our communities, we should also expect and we should know that we deserve that same care and energy in return by whomever it is in your life. So be that rock for yourself and for others, and don't accept anything less than somebody being that rock for you as well, whether that's a friendship, a relationship, a coworker, anything. So,
Well said.
do you agree?
I agree.
Well, thank you again so much, Corina, for being here and sharing your story. It's such a fun conversation.
This was so fun.
Yeah. How can people get in touch with you if they want to ask you questions about your story?
Yeah.
You on social?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram at Corina.Bernal. I'm also on TikTok at Corina.Bernal.
So follow Corina. She actually posts a lot about health and wellness and the little things that she does in her daily routine. And it's really fun to see. So proud of you. Love you.
You too.